Hi there, and welcome to another devlog of Ruinborne. Now, it's been quite some time since I've done one of these, so I do apologize, but I've been busy and at work making this game a game. So, the last time we actually saw anything, there was quite a bit of progress in the core systems, but now there's actually a game. So, one of the major things is that our character has armor now. You're able to equip and change out armors as you want. So, as you can see, I've also got t-shirts. That being said, you can change your armor, and when you equip the armor, it changes the model. So that's one of the major things that we've actually added. On top of that, as you can see in this purple monstrosity, there is building. So one of the things that this game will have is you're able to rescue NPCs from these instances and bring them back. And you're most probably also hearing some audio. So there's now actual audio in the game, so it doesn't sound as bland. But you can see that there's some like torches on the walls, although keep in mind these are some dev things. So I've decided to completely go away from any AI gen shit and properly actually just put dev stuff in. This armor is actually made by, I've commissioned some artists to actually make this stuff, including the weapons. And every item in here is now, well, commissioned or program art, as I've called it. So one of the major things is now you can build houses. There's also different sounds for when you land on different things. So as you can hopefully hear, there's different sounds for the grass versus stepping on what this is wood. There's also sounds for swing. And amongst that is furnaces. You're actually able to chuck stuff into furnaces now and cook them. So I'm just going to quickly give myself some lovely stuff. So we're just going to give myself some copper ore. And as you can see in my inventory, I've got copper ore, and you can place it and it turns the furnace on. I've also added in splitting the stack, so if you right click, you can split, and if you do one right click, it adds and whatnot. Exactly the same as Minecraft. There's also now tooltips, which have been added in to make things a lot more nice. Well, a lot more nice, I say, but a little bit more informative and following a little bit more on Terraria. One of the next things is the helmets and all that. You can't actually craft them. So we have our crafting table here where you're able to craft stuff based on what you have. So one of the things with Minecraft is, you have to hit a tree and get a wood. Mine's similar. You have to hit a tree, get some wood to make a workbench. And in the workbench, you can make a workshop or a furnace. This is the workshop here. Obviously, the furnaces are for smelting stuff. You use those to get some copper ore, some copper ore to make some copper ingots. And then you get a workshop. And this is where you craft all your armors. It's still a little bit work in progress, as you can see. There's some stuff here that you can craft that actually don't do a whole lot. But you can craft armors, and there's wooden armor, there's copper armor, and there's going to keep going on to iron, platinum, and gold as the game develops even more. The next thing is hit markers. As you can see, I have a sound for when I take damage, and you also see numbers popping up. Now, one of the next things is the settings. So I want to make this game as clean as possible for anyone to play. And one of the things that you can do is you can change, I guess, a bunch of video settings. But if you hover over these, it just tells you what they do. But in gameplay, this is where the game can be made your own. There's field of view sliders. There is actually changing the position of the camera on the player. So if I'm at 0.26, I can actually change where the camera sits. And I'll tweak these values and you'll be able to add your own values, but you essentially will be able to play the game how you want. You can play it in somewhat of a first person, or you can play it in third person, or you can play it in some weird angle. I don't care. Next, you'll be able to play, you'll be able to turn health bars off, and you'll be able to change the colors. So for those that don't know, I can't really see red. So I added a color thing. You can change the colors to whatever you want, and yeah, play around with them as you like. There's also a revert to change it. So if you change it to green, great, I can revert it back to what it was from default. We also have changed a lot of stuff in regards to like the navigation auto pickup and all that. But we've also been doing a bunch of quality of life. So now you can actually press menus and it does exactly what you'd expect. One of the major things is the building system. Now this is still a prototype. Or I say prototype, but it's still a work in progress. But if you press B and you've got materials in your inventory, aka you have this hammer, so you must have a wooden hammer. You'll see it pop up here. You can go into the building menu. Now this is still work in progress and I'm still figuring out how I want to do this. I want to make this as smooth as possible. But you can place foundations like this. I don't have enough resources, so let's give myself some more resources. give basic wood 100. Now these values are all subject to change as I do things, but I also, another thing as well, added in the head shifting tweaking thing. But if you go into foundations, you can place the foundations, like I said, work in progress, so it's based on the hills, so it doesn't actually align properly 100%, but I'll figure that one out. And then once we have foundations, we can place walls. Now, this is a little bit wonky at the moment and not 100% perfect because it places it based on where your camera is, not where you're looking, but you can press R to rotate it, but then you can place walls. You can go up to a certain height, similar to Rust if you played that. And for example, a doorway, and eventually I'll have doors that you can place. But one of the major things that you can do is if you have placeables in your inventory, you can place these. So same like a workshop. And go to it. Yeah, pretty much very straightforward. And then you can craft torches. So torches are one of the very odd things where they have a different floor model where they light up like that versus when they're on the wall where they're like that. So the system is now compatible with having items that sit on walls, like paintings and stuff like that. So eventually you will be able to make your home, and NPCs will be able to live in these things. Now, the next major thing that is currently in the process of getting done properly is you're able to change into the scales. So you don't have to just build a big Rust. You can go a little bit more into the details of, small little squares. Now, it's not perfect. There is a few little more issues that I will sort out before I actually do anything proper with it. But it should allow you to customize the look of your house if you want to go into that depth. And if you're lazy, you don't have to. But one of the major things is that it sort of lets you change how you want to play the game. You can build as much as you want, or you can just be lazy and build a square. Well, you don't even need to build a square. Your NPCs can literally live in them. You. They can be as little or as great as you want. Now the next thing is the monsters. We've added in a few new things. So, as you can see, we shift from. We now have world guards. At the moment, this is a dev world of only 256 by 256. We will eventually change that to a 1024 by 1024. So there will be a lot more room. And as you can see, there is monsters that spawn and chase me down. Now, it's not perfect yet, and there's still a lot to be done, but hopefully I'll get some proper values soon for these, so it's a little bit more of a replayable state. You will also notice that the sky is currently moving, and that the sun is slightly getting dimmer. That is because this game has a day-night cycle. So like Minecraft and Terraria, daytime is very peaceful, and there's a lot of enemies here. I say peaceful when I'm getting spammed like this. And nighttime is when the danger comes out. So let's just damage some. So as it's most probably here, I've added in some sounds to make things better and a little bit more impactful. The lock-in system has also had a revamp, so now there is a little bit more of a smooth lerping between camera, so it's not as erratic as it was before. And because I have auto pickup on, as I kill things, I just pick them up. And this is how you gather resources like gel. In the other cases, you can go to, let's say, tree, harvest a tree, and you get a tree. Now, if I was to go back into the main world, it does exactly as you would expect. It takes me back to my home world. I go back through, and the slimes will eventually find me again and chase me down. So one of the major things is that the cycle of the game is that you will go into these instances, harvest resources, build up your home, and then fight stronger and more dangerous creatures. One of the replayable cycles is just a very casual experience. You can stay at home and do nothing, or you can come to the instances and fight. A lot of this stuff will be also programmable, so you'll be able to set up the configuration on the server, such as peaceful, where it only spawns a few zombies or a few monsters, or it changes to the amount that spawns. These things will all be configurable, so you'll be able to play how you like and how you want. Now, one of the major things as well is the crafting changes. You won't start with everything. You will only start with the very basic wooden tools with a wooden sword. you have to, like the Terraria cycle and Minecraft, you have to fight, heal to get better stuff. So as you can see, the nighttime is slowly coming on, but I'll just manually set it to night, like this. So these commands will be available for the admins of the servers, so you'll be able to control these as you want. One of the major things as well is that we have Steam support. So if you play single player, there's no longer a headless service server that is launched, and then you join that. It's now all host single player. So for the technical ones, it means that you can play it locally without having to open another instance, and it's all one client. So it makes things a little bit easier and more, I guess, clean. The next thing is that we have Steam. We have the ability to host the game on Steam. So if you click host and then join your world, you can invite your friends to come play, and it's all networked. So one of the caveats is that your single player worlds can be played on multiplayer. You can open up your worlds to your friends. So if you're all very far ahead, you might want to start another world. But I'm not going to tell you how to play the game. You can play it how you want. But we'll start to see, hopefully if there's not too many slimes around, we'll start to see some more enemies start spawning. There's also passive mobs now. So you will see some mobs like Minecraft, where like cows and sheep and all that, which will handle passive mobs. Handle passiveness. They won't actually attack you and instead run away. But as you can see, some of the zombies have started spawning. And we have my favorite one here, which I call the poop slinger. He will throw shit at you. We also have the assassin, which is the one that's walking around very erratically and went invisible then. They're programmed to go behind you and try and bite you to poison you. Next, we have the basic zombies that literally just chase you. Then we have, I call him the Green Hulk. He's just a big boy. And his job is to act like a tank from Left 4 Dead, if you ever played that game, which is to run at you and charge you and hit you. So adding in dodge rolling will be your tactic to get away from these ones. It's going to become a tactics game. Now, I'll see if I can find the other zombie. So this is all programmably, like, there's no, not programmable, there's procedurally generated, so there's no singular thing that I'm controlling here. Just roll away from him. So like I said, you have to use your abilities to dodge and roll away to actually dodge the big boys. But here's another one. This is my favorite one by far. He's just a summoner zombie. And if you kill him before he does that, he will not spawn things. And he is very weak to the point that you're able to mostly one-shot him. Well, not yet anyway. But the bow will do the damage. That being said, there is a variety of enemies, and these enemies will drop some torn cloth, which you can then use at the workstations to create. We go back here to create some, not this one, to create some clothing. As you can see, some of these require the gel with the cloth and the wood, and then some copper ingots, and it changes. So, going forward, killing enemies, harvesting resources and whatnot is how you get, I guess, better in the game. The next thing is we have replayability, where you can close the portal and then open it up if you really want. There's nothing telling you to play with the portal open. You can close it and then open up another instance. Now, we plan to add in more worlds. At the moment, we only have one, but there will be multiple, and these worlds will change based on what we want. So far, we just have the greener pastures, which is the slime haven, which will have zombies and slimes and a lot of points of interest added to them when the maps get bigger. These will change, you kill a boss, you get a new map, and so forth. So the progression of the game is astronomical, to the point of where the game is actually a playable game. I'm hoping that within the next couple of months, I might be able to put something on Steam, and you'll be able to wishlist the game. But for now, this is just a devlog of what's changed. I haven't covered everything that's changed because it's just too much. But I'll hopefully try and make these devlog videos a little bit more, I guess, a little bit more weekly/monthly, so that you don't miss anything too major and you get everything up to date. But I will, when this game is out on Steam, eventually I will actually do a playtest where you'll be able to play the game. There's still a lot in the works in regards to art and getting stuff done. But once that's all cleaned out and we have something ready to show off, I would be more than happy to have people playtest the game and tell me it's shit. But I hope you've enjoyed the video, and I hope you, if you're watching it at night, if you're watching it in the morning, or whatever it is, I hope you've had a good day. And I would love to catch you in the next one.